the center's policies that, you're pushing the blame there, that therefore the teachers are... My question was very straight to you. Why is it? Because this is not the first time that the teachers have come down to the streets.
Like schools. That is the first thing, because that will mean the optimum utilization of resources. Yes, I mean, the figures speak for themselves. The government is spending a lot, but as one of the members also said, is it being optimally spent?
Exactly.
So, maybe we can improve that. So that will only happen when we are having the optimum number of schools. So that is the first.
I think all these agitations were due to the mistake the government has made, the policy that the government has made. That is the policy to categorize the schools into different categories.
If you see even the qualification of teachers, number one, why I say this, the government fails to plan. We have so many schools, but we don't have B.Ed colleges. So from where you have the trained teachers?
Yeah.
So because the government does not take any responsibility, in fact, it waits for the community, it waits for the private sector to take the initiative, and when you wait for the private sector to take initiative, and therefore this kind of problem we have. Had the government been serious, have the proper planning, and then execute properly, we will not have this problem.
Another thing, if we are also talking about the role of the teachers here, where we are supposed to teach properly, we are supposed to teach well. Let me just state here that the teachers nowadays, we do not even have time to teach anymore because the government is asking us to do so much of work. You fill the UDAS form, you do this, you do that. That is not the work of the teacher.
Hello viewers, welcome back to another edition of Let's Talk. This is a presentation of the Shillong Times group. Last week, we had discussed about the hawkers issue here in the state, about the burgeoning issue and what needs to be done so as to mitigate this problem, growing problem in the state and especially in Shillong particularly. Today we have taken up another issue, and that is with regards to the teachers. Yes, we are asking the question, why do teachers need to be always go down to the streets to really sort their problems or their issues that come in from time to time? And to tell us all about it, we are being joined by a very distinguished panel here with us. Let me go ahead and introduce them to you. To my immediate left is Dr. Batskhem Myrboh. He is the spokesperson VPP and the Associate Professor, Department of Political Science, the Northeastern Hill University here in Shillong. We are also being joined by Swapnil Tembe. He is an IAS and the Director of School Education and Literacy and State Project Director, Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan or SSA under SEMAM. We are also being joined by a very respected teacher who was also the former president, should I say? Yes, the former president of Khasi Jayantiya Deficit School Teachers Association, Mr. E.D Nongsiang, and next to him is Mayborn Lyngdoh. He is the former spokesperson of the Federation of All School Teachers of Meghalaya or FASTOM. I heartily welcome each one of you to this program. As I've already said that we have taken up a very important issue. Yes, we have seen lately that the school teachers were once again in the roads begging literally for their dues. So the very first question that I would like to ask is to Mr. Swapnil Tembe. Sir, why is it that the teachers who play such an important role in our society, we all know that, we all acknowledge that, nothing new about it really, but why do teachers have to agitate to be heard?
I think we have to understand the background of it. So allow me some time to go through that. So Meghalaya, it's a small state with a similar demography. We have Manipur, which has 1/3 number of schools. We in Meghalaya, we have roughly, let's say, 14,600 schools in a small state of Meghalaya. We have a population, let's say, of 38 lakhs. So we still have 15,000 schools. If we talk about the variety of schools, if we go into, we have government schools, we have different types of aided schools that have deficit pattern, science grant, Hindi grant, ad hoc grant, and morning, evening. So it takes a while to understand the type of schools also. And then we have the Samagra Shiksha schools. So as a comparison, when we see this the number of deficit schools are there. Roughly 4,000 deficit schools are there in our state of Meghalaya. In other states, let's compare with the northeastern states. Some of them, like for example, Nagaland, they don't have deficit schools. Some of them may have some 100 number of deficit schools. So there is a lot of the schools and a lot of different type of patterns which have been established. Coming to Samagra, when we come to the different states of India. So when Samagra Shiksha started, after the right to education came in, it mandated that we need to have certain number of schools within some distance. There are distance norms, like within 1 kilometer in every village. Basically, you need to have a LP school or UP school. So that mandated starting of a lot of schools. So then came these 5,000 rough number of SSA schools. In other states, what happened is that they rationalized the existing structure and they used this Samagra to put in more teachers, because PTR was also very, we had to take note of the PTR, the pupil teacher ratio. In Meghalaya, we have a little bit demographically speaking, we have a different structure. Like Manipur, I said, similarly placed, but they have less number of villages because most of their villages are concentrated in the plain belt. And here we have totally spread out. So it's actually a challenge. So that is why we had to initiate all those schools which had started. And then, so Samagra Shiksha, basically new schools started, like SSA category. Like, it's not like other states where this Samagra teachers were a separate cadre and they were supporting the existing government school. So it's created a separate cadre. So now what is happening, especially in Samagra, is that the financial support, so Meghalaya is a special state. So 90:1. So the entire Samagra funding, 90:1 is coming. But when it comes to teacher support, which is called the financial support for teachers, so every year the government of India, what their intention is that they want to give more funds for interventions, for maybe creating civil infrastructure, maybe for other things. So this academic support or financial support, they want to bring down slowly. And they want the state to absorb that. So what's happening is from 9 to 10, it's going down and they are reducing it every 5%, 10%. So slowly it's going down. So eventually that has been the thing.
Okay, so do you mean it is because of the center's policies that you're pushing the blame there? Therefore, the teachers. My question was very straight to you. Why is it? Because this is not the first time that the teachers have come down to the streets. I'll come back to you, sir, once again. But then I bring in, Mr.
I just want to
Nongsiang.
add one point to it.
Quickly,
So, it is not like putting blame somewhere. We have to understand that the kind of structure which has been created, the complexities which are there, the numbers which are there. So the reasons of all this lies in that as well.
But does it also happen in other states where the teachers are coming actually regularly on the streets to demand? Because as I said, this is a pattern that has been happening for a very long time.
No, so it's relating to that.
Yeah.
So because we have oversized number, it's not rationalized. So, in spite of having, 3,000 crore, 3,500 crore budget, most of it is going into salaries only.
Okay.
So that's a significant amount, like 8% of the GSDP. So it's a significant amount.
Yeah.
But we have to rationalize that
in
order to resolve that.
Yeah, we will come back to you again because let me go down to the pages of history. The KJDSTA, that is the Khasi Jaintia deficit, way back in 2010 also. You were then the president of it, Mr. Nongsiang, and you also resorted to similar agitation for the implementation of the Fourth Pay Commission. Similarly, in 2012, if I'm not mistaken, or 2014, again, there was a strike, against, for the delay to provincialize the services of 14,000 teachers every year, literally from 2010, 12, 14, 20, 21, 22, and now 24. Why do you think the teachers are agitating time and again in the same state?
Okay, good evening. I think all these agitations were due to the mistake the government has made, the policy that the government has made. That is the policy to categorize the schools into different categories. As he has said by the director, we have the ad hoc category, we have the operation blackboard categories, we have the deficit pattern, we have the deficit system, we have the SSA, no? We have also the upgrade, approve, I think it is called this ad hoc and improved system also. And because of this different systems of the schools run by the government here in the state, lots of problems have come up, grow up.
So you feel that is the main reason, because there are so many categories of teachers, that that it stems from there.
Yeah, the government actually should have taken the duty upon itself to look after education, but since it cannot, that's why we have the SSA. The central government have come up with the SSA, then the minority institution and the private. What happened is that when these categories, different categories are there, that disparities of pays also are there.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
Lots of problems crop up with these categories of school.
Right,
That's
right.
why the ad hoc are fighting to be like the deficit system.
Deficit, yeah.
And
Okay.
then the SSA also are trying to become a government school
Right.
and all that. So all these things are there.
We will come back to that point,
Okay.
like why we have so many categories, and is it now time to bring a standardization in a same state? I don't know really why we really need so many categories. I come to Mayborn once again. I mean, Mayborn, what makes the teachers come? Because recently the SSA teachers were once again, it is a very sad plight really to see the teaching community to be in the roads, to be in the streets, to be in the fields, to fight for their genuine rights each and every time.
Thank you so much for letting me be a part of this panel discussion. Personally, I feel that the reason why the teachers have to really come up to the streets every now and then, it's because maybe the government does not know how to do its work properly. That can be one reason, or the main reason. And the reason for that is also because the people who are there in the government, who are supposed to make policies, who are supposed to, make the lives of its citizens better and simple, especially for the teachers, they are making it hard. See, it's like sometimes the government is acting like a child that we teach in school. We have to tell the government every now and then what is best for us. And the reason why we have to tell the government is because the government does not take us into consideration. Back in 2022, when we were agitating for an enhancement of pay, because the enhancement of the pay of the ad hoc teachers were it was stagnant right from 2016. So we had to tell the government that since 2016, the budget, the financial budget of the government increased right from 13,000 crores to 17,000 crores. So from there itself, we can see that the government is, it's sanctioning a lot of money. And from that money, 3% of the cess tax is supposed to go to the teachers. So the question that we asked the government at that point of time was, if there was an increase in the budget of the state government, then where is the money? It means that the cess tax, where's the money, or the 3% of the cess tax that is collected, where is it going? If it is, because it is supposed to go to education. Another thing, last month, I guess I met with the Education Commission. We had a meeting. So when we had a meeting with them, so I told them about the problems and how we can solve these problems. And when we take a look at the Education Commission that was set up by the government, yes, we have a lot of teachers and ex-teachers as well as academicians over there. However, we do not find the teachers belonging to the ad hoc category to be there. And we do not find the teachers belonging to the SSA category to be there. So I think that somewhere along the line, the government is not taking into confidence the people who can actually give them ideas of how to solve this problem.
Okay.
So with regards to that, I think if the government really has the intention, personally I feel that the state government that we have it has no intention on improving education, because if it did have the intention of improving education, I have also sent many letters to our Chief Minister from time to time, right from I think 2022 onwards till last year, where I stopped sending the letters to him because I feel that they do not have the intention to improve the quality of education.
Yeah,
so I blame it on the government that they do not have.
That was quite a sweeping statement you have made, that the government doesn't have any intention to actually take care of education. I bring
Can
in
I respond to
yes,
some of that?
no, I'll come back to you, sir.
Yeah.
Just let me just bring him in also, because I'm sure he being a teacher, he's still a teacher, of course, and has so much of experience. Batskhem, what is your thought, really? Do the teachers deserve to come down to the streets and, even sleep in the streets, as we have seen before, to ask for their dues and their rights?
When you talk about the teachers' struggle in Meghalaya, I wrote an article a few years back where I stated that Meghalaya can be described as the land of teachers' agitation. That is the best description that we can give to Meghalaya. When you talk about the teachers' struggle in Meghalaya, I will try to locate this problem to the failure of governance. If you go back to the history of Meghalaya, in the 1970s, I would say that there was governance. There were efforts to really look into the need of the state. But since the 80s, start from the early 80s onwards, then governance in Meghalaya really suffered a decline. And that was not stopped, and it continued. And even today also it is continuing when you talk about the education sector. What I feel is the government of Meghalaya, way back in 1977, they constituted the commission to look into the education sector. And that commission gave a very good report. But that report, it seems, other than enactment of the Meghalaya School Education Act 1981, nothing was done to implement the report. One. And the second thing is, when you look about education in Meghalaya, why we are in this situation. Actually now, the rope has been so tight around our neck, and we don't know how to release ourselves from that strangulation. You see, when you see this education, the government of Meghalaya, from the 1980s onwards, they treat education not to be the task constitutionally obligated to them. Rather, they continue the colonial policy of taking that education is a task of the non-government sector. And the government here is only to aid. But again here, the problem with aiding also, the government of Meghalaya has given aid to the extent that this aid, instead of helping the educational sector, rather it has become a burden. And therefore, there was total lack of planning in the sector. And, when you talk about this, it is a very sad state of affairs in Meghalaya that during a particular period, I will not mention that particular period, but recently, we even failed to have an education minister willing to take up the sector. And that minister publicly told in one of the conferences that I attended that I'm taking this job as a matter of compulsion. So the teachers' problem in Meghalaya is has had a long history, and you need someone to occupy the chair in the education department that knows the problem and also who is determined to solve the problem.
Okay, point well taken. I come to Mr. Tembe. You've heard all our speakers, very, very strong points allegations being made, lack of governance, no really intent to solve the teachers. What is your quick reaction before I bring in the other problems also that the education sector has?
So one of the points that there is no intention, so that is totally baseless. And I want to share some facts, for your information also, that in 2023-24, the budget was roughly around, let's say, 2,200 crore for the education. This year, 24-25, it is 3,600 crores. So that's a huge jump. When it comes to the salaries, GIA is the grant in aid, which covers the ad hoc, the deficit, and all the different kind of things, schools which are there, which has seen a rise of 26%, which is significant. CSS, the centrally sponsored schemes, which is Samagra, Shiksha, PM Poshan, and last others, that has seen a jump of 46% in terms of getting the fund from the center. So this is just in 1 year last year. So when we see the total budget, that is now 7% to 8% of the GSDP, we were spending in education, which is a significant amount and which gives the intention of the government.
Yeah, that is all good, sir, what you have stated. We are happy that, the government is spending, but the result is not showing.
Can I intervene here?
Yeah.
You see, when you talk about how much you spend, that is fantastic. But my question, how you spend? When you talk about this increase of grant and aid, I was really baffled when when the Education Department adopted this Meghalaya State Education Policy in 2018. Over there, it is clearly mentioned that the government will take efforts to reduce the categories of schools. But few years after that, or even maybe few months after that, they started to create another category of educational institutions, wherein they brought this People's College grant. And if you examine properly, the way the grant is given, it is not based on the need, rather based on political considerations. So here, instead of the educational consideration, grant and aid is used to to further political interest. Why I'm saying that? Just think. I'll give you the classic example. Moplang, they already planned to have this government college at Moplang. Then at this another adjacent village. What is that? I forgot. That Upper Shillong only, near Moplang only. They put Mayamawang. Then they have another People's College. So just think in a village surrounding, small population, you have you plan to have two colleges. Is it logical?
Absolutely.
Or than political consideration?
Right.
And if you see why I'm saying that, certain colleges are given sanctioned posts where they have only less than 200 students even. So where's the logic? And therefore I see that when we talk about the increase in the number, but the question is how you spend it.
Okay. Now, besides that, another
To add,
Yes.
because the question is coming on rationalization. So I want to share that one project has been started, which is called Consolidation of Schools. And the pilot is being done in East Garo Hills, William Nagar, basically East Garo Hills district, wherein the DC is chairing that committee. And that is one pilot where we can see that how we can rationalize the school. One example I want to give, in some of the villages, there are there is a government school also, somehow there is a SSA school also, there is a ad hoc school also, there may be some private school also.
Exactly.
In one village of let's say 50 households.
So why is that?
So then we need to, so this is all legacy systems. In all these 50, 60 years, it has happened over the time. But now attempts are being made to do a pilot, and then that will be scaled to the entire state, and we are working on rationalization.
Yeah, quickly,
May I just add to
right.
what they have said? It's true that the state government has brought out this ad hoc schools and other schools
Other categories.
just to please the political leaders and to give them, because they cannot bring them under the deficit system or the government system. So they have to please the politicians. They have made this ad hoc schools.
Right.
And because of that, lots of problems came out.
No, apart
But
from that,
just to clarify on that, I want to share that this is like an incentive, because as I said, Meghalaya, the villages are spread out. So we needed more number of schools, especially at the elementary level when RT came. Suddenly there is no capacity. We cannot start so many schools. So you have to incentivize opening of schools in certain areas, because it's a RT entitlement. You need to have an elementary school within 1 kilometer. You need to have a UP school within 2 kilometers. So that was kind of pushed by the RT entitlement.
But sir, I differ with that. Because in some villages, there are so many schools, but children are very less. And some are without children also.
Absolutely. Ghost schools and
so
ghost
many
teachers
ghost
right.
schools and ghost
Quickly,
teachers.
Mayborn,
So
coming to this.
just to add to that, just like what Sir Batskhem has also mentioned, that the People's College post has come up. So quite interestingly, if you take a look at the history of the teachers of Meghalaya, when the 11-12 were separated from college and they were made into higher secondary, so the teachers of the 11 and 12, they were being told that, like for now we are separating you, like you go this way and then the college will go this way. So quite interestingly, if you take a look at the teachers who are also employed under the People's College post, they just need to have a master's degree. Actually, that isn't the norm. And around 50% of percentage. So that is actually the same norm that we have for the teachers who are in teaching in the higher secondary section. So we just need masters and 50%. So my question to the government is, instead of spending so much of money on the People's College posts, why not spend on strengthening the higher secondary teachers? If you take a look at the number of students who are appearing the boards exams in the SSLC, every year we have 50,000 approximately, and in the HSSLC we have 30,000 students. But the moment we go forward, the number of students are dwindling, and the reason why the number of students are dwindling is because there are very less colleges. That is one. And another thing is that we have the main question that we have to ask first is, where are the 20,000 students who are appearing in the matric exams? Where are they disappearing? The moment they go to class 12?
They're dropping out.
Yeah.
They're dropping
And
out.
in,
Because this is
quite interestingly,
another big problem.
yes, ma'am. And quite interestingly, we will also see that most of the students who are studying in the 11 and 12 in our state, they are also not just the students of our state, but we also get the students from outside the state. So it means that in the 11 and 12 category, we have students that are coming from outside the state, but in the till the class 10, we just have the students of our own state. So it means that the number of students that are disappearing, it's not just 20,000. It's more than that. So and then why is that happening?
Mayborn, this is a very, very pertinent issue that you have brought out, and I would want to take it up. The school dropouts. It's one of the highest in the country, much higher even the national average. Despite but this is a question to the teachers also. Despite having 55,000 plus teachers, why are our children dropping out?
You see, in Meghalaya, we have made the teaching job so degraded that only the I don't want to criticize actually our teachers, but many of the teachers, they take this job because
they're less motivated.
There are no other jobs for them.
Okay.
Otherwise, they would want to leave because the job that they are, they are serving, that they are having, is not at all motivating them. One, you see here in Meghalaya, if you see the even the qualification of teachers. Number one, why I say this, government fails to plan. We have so many schools, but we don't have B.Ed colleges. So from where you have the trained teachers?
Yeah.
So because the government does not take any responsibility, in fact, it waits for the community, it waits for the private sector to take the initiative. And when you wait for the private sector to take initiative, and therefore this kind of problem we have. Had the government been serious, have the proper planning, and then execute properly, we will not have this problem. When you look at the teachers in Meghalaya, most of them, whether at the school level or even at the college level, if you count, even at the college level, we have the unqualified teachers by the national standard. And worse is the government now is promoting, as Sir Mayborn said, is promoting the unqualified teachers to serve, in the colleges.
Right. Because see, these are issues which I also want to bring up. That is, lack of pay parity, regularization, annual increment is missing, untrained teachers, lack of regular school inspections. Now, you can't give a date to certain school and say that we are coming on this date. They just show you the best. They show you the best of their sides,
Ma'am,
so obviously these are lacunas. Would you like to take it up? Just let him answer first. These are lacunas that exist.
Right. So regarding untrained teachers, the data exactly is like 43% of the teachers of the all. I mean, it's not just government or aided; it's the entire 55,000 teachers. So around 43 are professionally unqualified, by basically, which means that NCT qualifications are not there, particularly at the elementary level, which mandates this DLED to be there, and at the secondary level, it's B.Ed. So now, as rightly pointed out by one of the members, that the B.Ed colleges are not there.
Yeah.
In fact, it's a bigger problem that DLED is also a challenge, because the capacity of the state in terms of diet is kind of limited, and that's why the expansion of these are being considered, and more B.Ed colleges are to be that's under examination by the government, but more or less, because if you see the number of schools, this problem is more with DLED, and DLED you have to be subject specific also, because they're like language medium schools also. So some places we are not getting in that particular medium also.
And yet the course has been changed recently,
Yes.
right? The course of class, the school level and the thing has been changed now to
basically that's
CBSE
the
course.
syllabus and textbooks.
Yes.
You see-
So are the teachers even qualified to teach
You
those
see,
students?
I will interject here.
No, let me just complete the thing. So regarding this now untrained teacher, they have been there in the system for way long, like some are 20 years, 25 years, and some of them may also retire in the next 5-10 years. So because NCTE now, when you go for DLED, it has to be a full-time course. It cannot be done online. B.Ed cannot be done online. It has to be, you have to go there, right? So one solution is that, of course, DERT also has a lot of courses, but they are not really recognized by NCTE. So what we can do is that we can have something like a bridge course. And for that, we have a standing MOU with one of the organizations, which is called CRISP, which is looking into this policy improvement. So they have come up with we can have like a 2-month or a 30-day course for these teachers. So at least they will have skills, because it is perhaps not possible now to get them, these NCT qualifications, because that requires them to go off the payroll.
May I come in here?
Yeah.
When you talk about this untrained teachers, I was really curious, and I was really shocked also when they realized that the teachers in Meghalaya, they were unqualified, because to teach in the primary school they needed class 12,
Right.
but many of the teachers were class 10 level or SSLC. What did they do in order to make them appear trained, appear to be qualified?
Okay.
Not qualified. I'm saying appear to be. What did they do? They asked them to appear for the class 12 exams without attending classes.
Okay.
And then those teachers, I don't know whether they passed or they were made to pass. And those teachers, then they went for the DLED, some sort of a training.
Yeah.
You see over there is a shortcut method to make them train.
Absolutely.
But actually, I doubt
that
how
shortcuts
far
don't
they are
work in
trained.
the long
And therefore,
run.
ultimately you have these
Let's bring the school, the pass percentage also. For the last 5 years, the pass percentage of SSLC has not crossed beyond 56%. And there are areas in Garo Hill especially, it's a misery. Really. Because, I have the figures here. The pass percentage, let me just bring of 2024. Garo Hills, West Garo Hills was 15.11%. East Garo Hills, 3.18%. South Garo Hills, 0.44%. And North Garo Hills, 1.87%. South Garo Hills, 0.97%. There's so much of disparity even within the state, which follows the same education, policy and the same course. Why? What is the government really planning to do with this, sir? Because, and this time, in fact, 124 schools recorded a 0 pass percentage in 2024, and 36 schools have reported a 0 pass percentage for the last 3 consecutive years.
Yes. Can I say something based on
Yeah.
that? When we take a look at the numbers and the figures that we have,
this is
like the
real
statistics.
figures,
Yeah, we can understand talking about trained and untrained teachers. We have to understand that in order for a person to be a trained teacher, he has to spend a lot of money. So just for the B.Ed course, sometimes it goes beyond 2 lakhs. So what kind of a person, in Meghalaya, we have the per capita income of around 7,000 per person. So if the per capita income of a person is 7,000, then how that particular household will be able to send their children who really loves to teach and become a trained teacher to get a government job so that they can fit. It means that the people who are actually going for the B.Ed course are the ones who are coming from the rich family. They are not the ones who really want to teach. They are just the ones who maybe they just want to get a job because someone is already there.
Right.
The moment you have a degree, then you will be getting a job. So they do not mind spending. So the why I'm saying that the intention of the government, there's no intention from the government to improve education, but we can absolutely see that the government has pure intentions of showing that it cares.
And
It
look
only
at the
cares
rural-urban
in terms of
divide.
figure.
Look at the rural-urban
Yes,
divide.
ma'am.
Most of the schools are located in Shillong, in the urban areas.
Yes.
Go to the rural areas, there's dilapidated, no infrastructure, leaking roof, pathetic.
And-
No,
Sir,
I mean,
sir,
I won't
you-
correct you on
yes,
that.
no,
Just
no.
like,
In
And not
Garo Hills,
just
you
that.
yourself, you have spent quite a lot. I mean, you are very respected, officer in the education department, because in your term, when you were in Garo Hills, you yourself gave up 2 months of your salary to improve so many schools there.
Yes, I mean,
Obviously,
that was
you
just
saw
one school, but,
you
yeah.
saw the reality there, and therefore you wanted to.
And ma'am,
do something.
just
just on
want to-
infrastructure, just
Yeah,
quickly,
just,
quickly.
I
on
will
in-
just
yeah.
add a little bit and then maybe. And what I was trying to also say is that most of these teachers who are trained without the intention of wanting to teach, they do not take their job seriously.
Seriously, okay.
So most of the teachers who are from Shillong, who I personally know, some of them, they are teachers in Garo Hills. They do not go and teach.
Yeah.
They are here for
Absentee teachers, yeah.
1 month, then they go and teach there for 1 week, and then they are here. So what is the government actually doing? The government is not
The
actually
government has
looking into-
introduced the TIMS app, if you are not aware.
Yes, it has introduced, but
Right, and
is
it has geofencing.
Yes, I know, but
So the
is it
teacher
really
has to be
functioning?
in the school. Yes, and we are getting 70 to 80% attendance. As
How?
of today's
How are you
report.
getting 70 to 80% attendance when we know that the teachers are here?
That may be one case scenario.
It's not a
It's
one
not-
case scenario, sir. You take a
It's
look.
not 100%
Yeah,
asset.
you take a
Yes.
look at the statistics in
Right,
Garo
right.
Hills.
This-
Then
this-
it will be
the-
very clear.
the-
Maybe somewhere it has been manipulated.
Right.
And if it is manipulated, that is why like if you're talking about 70 to 80% attendance of the teachers, but you have 0% of the students passing from that school or from that college, then it's very plain and simple that the teachers are not actually doing their jobs properly.
You want
There
to
can be
come in.
other
That's why we-
factors as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
They can
yeah.
be, not competent
Yeah.
also.
Okay.
Instead of going to the school, maybe it's, they're not having the skill, or maybe they're not having the resources. There can be so many other factors when we
Okay.
look at pass percentage. But, see, to address this teacher absenteeism, the moment I joined as director, we had issued orders for this, prohibiting this proxy teachers and
Right.
all that. We have taken action also in several cases. And last year only we introduced the STEMS app. So it's still in the making.
process.
Earlier, when we started last year, only 30% attendance was coming. Now we have reached 70%. Our SIs, our people are going and checking and cross-validating.
And that is
It's
so
not
important,
buzzing.
right?
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is-
So,
this is-
Yeah.
and
this is
I
what we
just want
want
to,
the government to
just
do.
said one thing,
Yeah.
that education is so complex, and especially in Meghalaya, there's no low-hanging fruit. So it will take some time
Okay.
to improve things. So
Right.
if we are so impatient, then nothing will move.
Because there's a maximum employment is from the teachers.
Yes,
You see, right? It's not that we are impatient. As I said,
we want
are-
to
we
see
are
the
being-
change.
we are being strangulated already. So we want to free that strangulation.
Okay.
Well,
Now,
I want to
on
answer
the
to your
percentage,
question
yeah,
regarding
pass percentage.
Garo Hills especially.
Yeah.
When you talk about pass percentage at the SSLC level, so SSLC level has to be built on the lower levels. In Garo Hills, if you examine carefully, most of the schools at the lower level, they belong to the government sector. And somehow in Khasi Hills, the primary sector, they belong mostly to the private sector.
No,
So
this
the
is-
let,
this is also
let,
there, yeah.
let me complete. And therefore, in Khasi Hills, because of the private sector, the performance is better.
Absolutely.
And you see, the performance of the government school is always not up to the mark. And if you want to, since more, the primary sector in Garo Hills is dominated by the government school, if you want to improve education in Garo Hills, you have to improve
the government
primary
schools.
school.
Yeah, and the
that
government
to
schools,
the
yes.
government school.
Government
But here,
schools, yeah.
I'm again. But you see the history of Meghalaya, where recruitment of teachers also was very compromised. And I don't know whether they have really cleansed of the system.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that is another challenge.
Yeah, so as I said, there's plenty of issues.
Yeah.
You know, it is like a Pandora's box we have actually opened up, and it will take a while, as Sir is also saying, the effort is on, and hopefully things will change. But then we want solutions. So we are just now going in for a very quick break now. When we come on the other side, we are looking for solutions. How do we cleanse the system of all the, hodgepodge that is going on, and how do we improve the education scenario in the state of Meghalaya? So those of you who are watching this program, don't go, because coming back after this very quick short break, we will be asking these questions and finding answers or solutions to the problem at hand. Join us very soon. So welcome back, all of you. We are watching this program, and we have taken up the teachers' issue, and we are asking why this important segment of our society that plays such a crucial role in mentoring, in skilling, in teaching, and they are the backbone of any society called the teachers, have to actually go to the streets to ask for their dues, for their rights, not just now, but it has been for many years now. So coming back once again to our government representative here, and that is Mr. Tembe, where lies the solution? What is the government looking? How does it plan to cleanse the system so that, Shillong and particularly Meghalaya once again becomes the hub of education? It used to be once upon a time.
So the first thing is that we need to rationalize schools. That is the first thing, because that will mean the optimum utilization of resources. Yes, the figures speak for themselves. The government is spending a lot, but as one of the members also said, is it being optimally spent?
Exactly.
So, maybe we can improve that. So that will only happen when we are having the optimum number of schools. So that is the first. Second is that we need to improve our curriculum. We need to see that, and in fact, the academic committee in DERT and MBOs, they're together working on it. Whether our students are learning what they are supposed to learn. NEP says what is the most important thing is that they should learn how to learn, rather than learning. So are we empowering our students? So we have to look in that. Many are academically very good students, but they are life skill wise. When we say skills or vocational skills or life skills, they are not performing very well. Eventually, out of education, we want, them to have some skill. We want to have 3 C's basically. When we see, when we talk of communication skills, confidence and competence. If our students through our education system develop these 3 C's, then they'll be empowered to achieve anything. Third thing I want to say is that assessments. We are having a model of summative assessments, only testing them once in a year. That is not, that is old system and obsolete system. We have to move towards the formative assessments where they're regularly, and they should not be, required to mug up syllabus at the end of the year. So we have launched MLens app, and it will be soon rolled up. It has already piloted, where the schools will be able to use this. Every week they can do formative assessments. There is no need of doing a summative assessment, and maybe at some point of time we can eliminate these summative assessments as well. Then fourth point on teacher training, NEP is that every teacher has to do 50 hours of CPD, which is continuous professional development every year. Our diets, and as pointed out, our institution may not be able to give that kind of training. So we have to come up with some solution with models like Nishtha and, these platforms which are there for teacher training. So we have to improve that. And infrastructure, yes, that's one of the important thing. And mission education is there, where around 2,000 schools have been taken up, but there's still many schools. So after rationalization, maybe we can use this mission education, in a better way. So these are some of the things. There are many more, but in the positive time, I want to focus on the
And
main
MBOS
things.
also has recently said that the additional examination will be held within 2 months, right? Of the supplementary.
Right. So last year, before this, what used to happen is if somebody is failing,
Right.
then they have to wait the whole entire year to
Yes.
write the compartment exam.
Mm.
So because many would want to immediate opportunity, that will save them 1 year. So that's a great step, I think, which MBOS has taken.
Yeah.
Okay, Madam,
So do you
can I
think
say
all this is good enough? The rest
Yeah.
of you, because you have flagged so
No.
many questions. Yes.
Yeah, I want to say that now they have introduced a system that there's no selection test for class 10 students. And also there is a guidebook to be
No, actually,
given.
there's still selection test. I had issued an advisory
That
of
they-
two
they
students
not to,
that
yes.
not to conduct, because they should be allowed to give, and if they have some shortcomings, you
Yes.
can always have remedial classes. Why to
Yes.
stop them from giving the
Yes.
exam?
Right.
I
But
don't
I
think
think
that's
that
a
there is a circular that has come this time that we cannot stop any student actually from not going to the board. I think all are being allowed this time to attempt the board examination. That is what we have got, the thing that, we cannot stop any students.
No, it was an advisory issued
Right,
by
right.
the.
So
my
we have
office,
taken
yeah.
it seriously.
Yeah,
and
very good.
so
That's-
even the very bad ones, we are allowing them to go, but we don't know.
in
what
fact,
they do.
since he brought up this selection test, no state has this model of selection test.
Mhm.
It is not right actually, for us, to stop somebody. If somebody wants to give exam, let them give exam. What is
And
that?
sometimes surprisingly they do very well also.
And,
That is
yeah,
also
and
there.
other states, have a pre-board system where we have pre-board. When I was in class 10, I gave 3 pre-boards. And in every pre-board, they tell, okay, this is the shortcoming, you improve. So that is the model we
I
also
think,
want.
ma'am,
Yeah,
the
we are
basic-
almost wrapping up. We
Yeah,
are almost
the-
just make very brief
I want to
concluding
say that-
statements.
just because the government does not take seriously to implement the education policy of the
Okay.
state,
Mm.
and certain rules like the service rules and rules of conduct are not being taken up by the government, all these things have come up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So hopefully
So,
there will be a change. Yes.
Yes.
Mayborn.
With regards to the when it comes to the exams and all, so Sir has also said that the government is taking steps towards formative evaluation rather than summative evaluation, which is happening every once a week. So we also saw the notification earlier this year that the government is asking the schools to conduct these tests of 50 marks every single week. So the DSEO's office, they keep sending papers to the school, where the school will have to send the marks to the DSEO's office with regards to the test that is being conducted. One thing that I would like to state here is that we, the teachers, we teach the students 100 marks for 1 year. Now, how are we supposed to teach 50 marks in 1 week and have tests every week? And when we have tests every week, then when are we going to take classes? Then if we do not take classes, then where will the students learn? It means that we are promoting the students to learn at home. Another thing, if we are also talking about the role of the teachers here, where we are supposed to teach properly, we are supposed to teach well. Let me just state here that the teachers nowadays, we do not even have time to teach anymore because the government is asking us to do so
Many
much
other
of
things,
work.
yes. These
You
circulars
fill the
keep on
UDAS
coming.
form,
Yes,
you do
yes,
this, you
that
do
is
that.
true.
That is not the
Yeah,
work of the
Mayborn,
teachers.
points very
Yeah.
well taken because even we face
No, but
it.
on the
But then-
formative
yeah.
assessment, I just want to, you're not, so when we say formative assessment, it is that what you are teaching, let's say what you have, as a teacher, what you have taught during the week, that assessment should be done there itself.
But for 50 marks, sir.
No, that is that's the pilot thing going on. We definitely will improve on that based on the suggestions of the teachers is very well noted. But the idea is that there shouldn't be any burden on the student. So they are learning, let them have assessment there, then and there. They don't have to go back and rote learning, mug everything. And
Yeah.
that is the idea of
So
formative
as
assessment.
we are almost
So if
concluding-
there are any shortcomings, we welcome the feedback from the teachers and we will,
Right.
definitely improve this.
Absolutely. So as we are concluding, because many teachers are watching this program, will they need to come again to the streets to raise their concerns? And do they really need? Will the government allow them? What is the kind of mechanism that you are bringing in place so that the teachers don't have to? Why can't their salaries be disbursed on time? Why do they have to come? They have a livelihood also.
So we are taking up rationalization. As one of the members said, there are absence of rules, service rules, especially when it comes to aided school. There are no, we are still using the Assam, which we adopted.
Yeah.
So we are also in the process of forming our own rules so that everything is, very clear. And when there is no gray areas, I think the things will improve in the times to come.
So this is, I think, those of our teachers who are watching will feel a little happy, but then promises are meant to be kept. That is what I say quickly. As your 1 minute, I give you.
But as I said, there are
Yeah.
no low-hanging fruits.
Okay.
So it's
All
an
right,
evolving
it takes time.
process,
All
and
right.
we are doing
Yeah.
our best. To
Okay.
As
all
I
right.
said, this has been a historical problem.
Mhm.
It is not easy to solve.
Okay.
I appreciate what he,
And I think
he
we will
has,
take his,
what he said
seriously.
about regionalization. But my only concern is, will politics listen to logic?
Okay.
That is.
Yeah,
the
that
final-
is only time will say, and with everybody's support and cooperation, I think everybody has a role here to play, including the teachers. So I think we will see better days. Hopefully, the teachers don't have to come to the streets anymore to fight for their rights. Thank you all, gentlemen, for coming to this program today and discussing this very important issue, the plight of the teachers in Meghalaya and why they need to come to the streets each and every time to beg literally for their demands. Well, thank you very much for watching this discussion. Until next edition of Let's Talk, it's goodbye.